LinkedIn commenting. It's a great way to grow your account. Basically, every day log into LinkedIn, go through your feed and find some of the biggest accounts and try and leave a thoughtful and engaging comment. No, that doesn't mean generating comments with AI or saying things like, great post, man. You actually want to write and create something that adds value. Now, I don't know about you, but it's actually quite time consuming to go through this feed every single day and find big accounts relevant to my niche or niche that I should comment on. I'm going to share two different strategies which will help you increase the amount of comments that you can leave every day and grow your account without spending hours using LinkedIn. So the first strategy is free and anybody can do it. Basically, log into LinkedIn and go through the biggest accounts in your niche or industry. So I'm going to pick Justin Welch, who's one of the biggest creators on LinkedIn as an example. And then I'm going to click through to his profile and I'm going to click on the star button. And I'm going to add it to a folder full of bookmarks. And then the idea here is you build out your folder of big accounts on LinkedIn and you treat this as a type of list. And then once a day you spend 20 minutes just clicking on the individual profiles that you've built out and leaving a thoughtful comment on their latest post. Now, I found that this actually works better than just relying on the algo, because sometimes the algo won't show me a post from a specific account, perhaps because they're making changes to how the algo works. But this way I can leave comments, firstly on the bigger accounts, and secondly on smaller accounts on people that I want to build a relationship with. It only takes me 10 minutes to click through each one of these profiles and perhaps another minute or two to leave a comment. Now, I'm not going to leave a comment on every single profile, but if I have a list like this, I know that I can find what's relevant and I can slowly increase my engagement. The second strategy is to use a premium tool. And this is a tool that came across recently called useaware.co. And you can use Aware for scheduling your LinkedIn posts, for reviewing your LinkedIn analytics, and also for commenting. And it's actually commenting that I use Aware for at the moment. So I find it saves me a bit of time and it's also quite good. Now, there is a cost to using Use Aware. At the time of recording this video, you're going to spend $39 per month. I'm currently trialing Use Aware for my commenting strategy, and once you log in, just click on the left hand sidebar and look for the influencers tab. This is useful if you don't have that list built out yet, but I do recommend you build out your list as quick as possible, and I'll show you why in a moment. Once you've clicked on the influencer tab, Aware will show you a couple of accounts that you should potentially comment on. People who have left posts within the last 4 days, from lists like entrepreneurship, LinkedIn growth, retail, edtech, product and software engineering, and so on. And it presents this in a clean, non-distracting feed. And obviously you're not relying on the algo here. So I could just work through these one by one, leaving comments on posts which I feel are relevant. Now, these particular posts are not relevant to me. So this is people from the financial or fintech industry. So I can click skip on a few of these. So I'm just going to scroll down and see if I can find anything relevant. So perhaps this one here, I'm just going to leave a like on and skip. True results start with culture, not spreadsheets. Build the foundations first. This looks like a good post. So I could just spend a minute reading through the post and then leave a thoughtful comment. So here's a relevant post from Scott Kingsbury. So he's talking about how true results start with culture, not spreadsheets. And then he's providing some value based on the famous leadership book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. I've actually read that book. It's quite good. Certainly recommend checking it out. And he's used this to write quite a lengthy LinkedIn post. So basically I could read through his post and then I could add a comment. So I actually wrote this comment just before I started recording the video, and I'm going to click on reply and like. Now there is an option to generate comment with AI. Personally, I don't recommend doing that. AI comments always sound terrible and cheesy and you're not really building engagement. So I can leave my comment. If I want, I could just save it as a draft post as well. But in this case, I'm just going to click reply and like. And now it's moved me on to the next post, which is by Richard van der Bloem. So he's one of the big accounts on LinkedIn. So he's talking about getting into your buyer's mind. And he has some myths about LinkedIn, which are costing me time and money. And I can see his carousel here as well. Looks like quite a good post from Richard. I'd actually going to go through that later and see if he's any insights for my LinkedIn strategy. But I can leave a post here as well and basically work through my feed like this. And it should only take me 5 or 10 minutes to leave comments on the accounts of influencers in my niche or industry. There are a couple of additional features which are quite useful if you really want to reduce the amount of time you spend commenting. So obviously you can sort by newest post, but you can actually just find the one that gets the most engagements, and you could just work through the posts that have the most engagements for people in your niche. You can reduce or increase the amount of posts you want to see from users. So bigger accounts obviously post every day, whereas smaller accounts might only post once or twice per day. So you could change this. And if you haven't been active in LinkedIn over the past few days, you can increase this or decrease this as well to customize exactly what UserWare will show to you. It's also possible to click through to individual posts so you can see them directly on LinkedIn and leave your comment here, and then also see what the other commenters are saying too. So you don't have to do it directly inside of the tool. Earlier on in the video, I mentioned why you should build out your list of accounts to engage with on LinkedIn. Well, you can actually plug this list directly into a custom list inside of UserWare, and then you can use this to comment on a feed that you've curated. So I actually built a custom list before I started recording. So here's my custom list here, or should I say here are 3 of my custom lists. So if I click on mine, now I can see all of the people inside of this specific list and what exactly they're posting. So I have about 24 people inside of the list, but again, I can just search for somebody and I can add them. So here's somebody here, Richard Vanderbloom. It'll give me his profile information, and then if I'm happy, I can just add it to my custom list. Or alternatively, I can go through LinkedIn, so go through that curated list that I showed you at the start of the video, and just paste in the URLs one by one and add them to my custom list. So you may want to consider building a couple of custom lists. Firstly, the big accounts and influencers in your niche or niche. Secondly, the smaller accounts of people who you want to build a relationship with. And thirdly, accounts of people who could become potential clients or customers. And then you could spend a couple of minutes a day going through each one of your lists. So if I go back to custom lists, select all lists, and then select mine, it's going to fetch all of the posts from people in the custom list that I've built. And as you can see, it would only take me a minute to go and comment on each one of these posts. Now that said, if you are going to use this strategy, it will save you a bit of time, but you are missing one thing. So if you have a bit more time for commenting on LinkedIn, a strategy that I've also found which can work quite well is to find a post by a big creator and leave your thoughtful, engaging comment. Again, don't use AI, but then actually read through the comments as well. And if you find a commenter who's left some piece of valuable content, you could reply to their comments too. And you're quite likely to get a connection request from them if they're relevant to you and if your content is valuable. And obviously that's quite a bit more time consuming than the strategies I've showed you a few moments ago. But if you do have a bit more time for leaving comments, it can work quite well. UserWare also has some additional features for leaving replies to communities you're in. Currently not active in a huge amount of communities, but it is there. And you can also click on the replies tab and find out who's replied to your posts and manage all of that inside UserWare. There's also a section for generating leads. So you can use this as a type of CRM. Again, I'm just using this for commenting at the moment, but that's something I may experiment with later on. And if you're using some other LinkedIn scheduling tools like Taplio or Buffer, both of which I cover on this channel, you could potentially schedule your posts directly inside of this tool and not use those other tools that I've referenced. There is also an option for analytics, so I can see some of the analytics from my LinkedIn account over the past week, 4 weeks, month to date, and so on. And actually, if you're interested in learning how to use LinkedIn analytics, whether it's inside UserWare or some other tool, I have another video on the channel which I recommend you check out. This video comprises an entire playlist where I explain how to get started on LinkedIn, grow your account, and find high-paying clients. So do check out the rest of the playlist and leave a comment below if you found it useful. And I also have 101 proven viral LinkedIn hooks which you can get for writing on LinkedIn. I'll put a link to that too, so check that out.